jumping right into it. Oh, shit. Just missed that call. Hi, it's Jason.
Hey, Jason. How's it going?
Good. Who's this?
Good. My name is Mike. My
Hey, Mike.
tag is on our last leg.
Oh, cool. How's it going?
Yeah, so doing good, man. Good. I was going to tell you about 6 dreams I had.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I'm not going to tell you any dreams. I know you hate that.
I didn't know how I was going to break it to you.
No, I'm just kidding. I got my notes here instead, actually.
All right, cool.
I've been taking notes, getting ready for a prepared call, Got
Cool.
nice and prepared.
Nice.
Also, when people are calling in, it's not putting anybody on hold. It's just going to like a British lady, an answering machine. But
Really?
I don't know, maybe there's another system you can set up. But it's not like you have a problem with not having enough people call in. But if no one's calling, they probably...
Yeah, it just goes to like Skype's voicemail.
Oh, yeah, some nice
I
British
guess.
lady. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's routed
Cool.
to London.
Okay. Oh, gotcha.
No, I'm kidding.
So I remember a while ago you had a thought about if the sun was in space burning with no oxygen. You're kind of interested as to why and how that could happen. And it was kind of a weird moment.
Yeah.
I had another thought the other day about the Great Pyramids. It's kind of off topic from your previous conversations, but you might find it a little bit interesting. So the pyramids, as far as I know, and I double-checked, I looked it up, they're almost perfectly aligned with the cardinal points facing perpendicular north, south, east, and west. Did you hear about that?
No.
Oh, okay, so they're like dead center in all the land masses, and they're also exactly north and south, east, and west. If you were to draw a straight line down the side of the pyramid, they're aligned with the cardinal points of the Earth.
Wow.
Which is amazing. They say that they're actually only off by 0.067 degrees.
Basically, not off at all.
Right. In fact, I think that's probably our own calculation that's probably off when it comes to that.
Yeah. Probably right.
So I looked up how old the pyramids are, and they were completed in... When you type in how old the pyramids are on Google, it says 85 years, which is weird. But it's not, obviously. It's talking about... You type that exact sentence into Google, it says 85 years, but it's really saying that they are completed within 85 years. They're 4,607 years old was when they were started to be built, and then 85 years later they were completed. So 4,607 years ago they started working on them, completed roughly around the same time. And I looked up how far apart continents shift each year. And according to geologists, the continents are shifting on average 1 inch every year. So they've moved 383 feet in the last 4,600 years, roughly. So it's amazing that the pyramids are still aligned perfectly. They should be a little bit skewed. They shouldn't be perfectly aligned north, south, east, and west anymore after being built that long ago with the continents shifting underneath them, if in fact the continents really are moving, which I don't
That's a good
believe.
point. Well, I don't know. Have you looked at like Florida and Cuba lately?
No, not really.
Or South America? I mean,
nope.
They used to be, like South America used to be directly under, United States. But now it's like, it's seriously, I was laughing out loud. I was on the phone with the Light Warrior. And the two of us were laughing so hard because it looks so fucking ridiculous. And South America is like, it's completely moved over. It's
right.
Even when that was reported, it's now moved even more. It's ridiculous. Every time I look, it's like, it's going to bump into Africa.
I agree. Yeah, there's certain countries that I don't remember being so large either.
No.
The Mandela effect is strangely affecting geography somehow.
Right. But I like
can't wrap my head around
the
that.
continent shift is interesting. An inch a year. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. It's a good point.
Yeah, and I forgot, I don't know if I've ever heard you talk about it, but do you want to disclose if you believe we're on a globe or a flat earth?
Oh, I've spoken about it. I go in these phases. It depends on where the conversation is, because what stays consistent for me in terms of a belief is that the moon landing is bullshit. That's been pretty consistent for me. Whether or not, the moon is what they say it is or not, or whatever, I just don't believe that we've been to the moon. Or at least when they said, right. That's pretty consistent for me. In terms of the flat earth, it really depends. I could see it both ways. I have somebody who talks to me like Cody, who's a friend and a subscriber, and he's got such a wealth of, information when it comes to that. But he'll admit it, it's learned information. It's not like he's been in this space. And the answers are always so complex. Like,
right.
What else on earth, what else on earth has takes, it's just that the complexity of answers is what really bothers me. And then it seems like everyone backpedals, because when I was growing up, gravity was the force that was keeping the oceans to the planet. And today, no, apparently nobody subscribes to that. Like, everyone says, no, well, gravity is actually a weak force. So it's like, then...
Yeah, it's magically both. It's both extremely powerful and extremely soft.
It's selective. It's selective in its strength. Yeah. So, I mean...
How weird is it?
Yeah. So, and there's enough. The UN flag alone, that symbol. It's like, what's the purpose of using the flat Earth map? Why use that?
Yeah.
So,
one thing that bothers me a lot is the moon, and the fact that they talk about how the tidal shifts are. The moon is responsible for the tidal shifts.
Yeah.
But it doesn't pull anything else on the planet, just the water.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. And the weight of the water too.
Yeah, and astronaut suits. I don't know if you've heard of Mark Sargent's channel lately at all, but his challenge going out
10,000.
talking about that. Yeah.
He's
very
offering.
Interesting how fabric can protect the astronauts like that.
Yeah.
And then the moon shade,
Right.
But to get back on topic of your own idea, I agree with you completely with what your idea was today. It just reminds me of the Taoist point of view. Yeah, the plan.
Yeah.
Just tapping into what the Taoist would call the way.
Right.
And it's
I think that's what they're doing. And I think
your
they're
whole
just
channel.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think that's what they're doing. I think that, it's just being used against us. But it's, the fuel.
It's the ancient principle of being able to connect to the infinite wealth of knowledge that is the universe. We're just, receptors that are conscious receptors that have forgotten how to tune into our crown chakra to receive that information.
Right.
And your channel, I Am, it used to be, I don't know if this is what inspired you to call it this or not, but years ago, I read about different types of meditations, and there was a meditation called the I Am meditation, and you would just sit there, and this is I think I remember you talking about this the other day, basically explaining this meditation in your own way, which again proves the point that there's infinite knowledge when everybody can come to the same conclusion, because the truth stands alone, and when it sounds right, it's right. But you basically reiterated the exact same meditation that I read in a book that was written by Tibetan Buddhist monks, where you would sit and just say, I am a soccer player. You say, no, soccer is something I do. I am Mike. No, Mike is just a name I was given. And you just keep cutting yourself down over and over and over again. Every time you try to associate yourself as some form of identity, it extends out. you dwindle it down to realizing that your I am presence, and then call it your I am presence, is like after you have gone through that cycle of trying to say I am so many times, it filters out all the bullshit or the BS, and what you're left with is just this presence of knowing and being. You become your being. And
it's what you end up with.
And you can't quite put it into words when you get to that point of just knowing. And then again, something that you said, which is words are obsolete at a certain point, and it's extremely true, because you can't really explain other people. You can't explain to other people your own experiences or your own awareness ever. They have to wake themselves up, which is, so your plan is great, because it's just letting kind of, getting out of your own way, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Standing in your own way.
Right.
And then the last thing I wanted to mention that I had heard from this channel, and I just recently found this guy. I don't really know what to think about him or not, but he says a lot of stuff that resonates truth. And again, when you hear the truth, you know it's true.
Mm-hmm.
His name's Bashar. You might have heard.
Oh, I know Bashar.
Yeah, very
I've seen
interesting
him.
Character. With the whole.
Yeah. A lot of theatrics.
Right? I know.
But
it seems so ridiculous.
I know, but when you watch him, don't you sit there and go, but he can't make that shit up. It's too, he's flowing.
He's so quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He's in the flow.
So quick. And it's that he is flowing, exactly.
Right.
And I think I used to do this when I was younger, and I've kind of become, I think we all did it when we were kids, and we, at different times in our life, slowly start to disassemble and to disconnect from that, and then we get it back for a little bit, but it's, not as spontaneous as when we were younger. But what he said during one of the talks was, this person was worried about trying to do something in their life, and he said, well, the quickest points between A and B in a linear world is a straight line, but you're not linear, you're multidimensional, and so you can't think like you need to move in a straight line, because moving in a straight line when you don't want to go to that place, forcing yourself to do something, basically what I got out of it was like, it's quicker to be running fast than to be trying to move in a straight line through concrete. Run in a squiggly line and get to point B a lot quicker if you just do what the way would tell you to do, instead of forcing yourself to do something thinking you're going to get there quicker. If you just stay focused on it hard enough, it sometimes is slower. If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, it does. I mean, in a nonsensical way, of course, but because the brain is only wired for this reality, wired in this linear, so you have no choice but to bypass it in a way.
Right. Yeah. We are stuck always thinking there's going to be a beginning, middle, and end, which is what freaks us out so bad about life.
Right.
The
illusion.
We can't wrap our heads around anything other than third dimension, which again relates to something how you said when you're in the higher dimensions, you can look down, so the people in the fifth dimension can look at the third, and the third can look at the second.
Right.
And it's so being in a linear dimension, it's inconceivable. It's beyond our cognitive recognition to be able to conceive a fifth dimension, because it's just literally outside of our way of thinking.
Right.
Unless you go to a place that is outside of yourself by opening that crown chakra, basically.
Right. Yeah. Totally. And it's that logic that seems, so crazy to go. Well, what are you gonna do? Bypass logic? Bypass reason? Bypass? It's the only way. That's why why this has been. We've been so conditioned to kind of just not strengthen the imagination, not strengthen that creativity side of our brain, and strengthen the logic and reason. And logic and reason is fighting for its life. It's going to argue for itself, So it is.
Yeah.
Who came up with the terms logic and reason? But that side of the brain, labeled itself. It's labeling everything. So of course it's being biased. Money is so powerful that logic and reason often lead to having more economic wealth. A lot of the jobs that you need, you can't be completely left
I think it's the right side of your brain. I always get them backwards.
Yeah, I
but
do too.
You can't be. Yeah, because I think of the left side of your brain being liberal, like the left on the Democrats.
Yeah, it's
actually
not
the
that.
opposite.
Right.
Yeah,
The
the
right
left
side's
is the
the
logic, I think,
creative.
and the right. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're like conditioned, strictly whipped into thinking you need to be logical to earn money too.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of the professions prefer that, but yeah, and another thing too is just how you mentioned, look at your body and really look at your fingers and your hands and be like, I am in control of this.
Yeah.
I am in here.
Right.
And that's a very powerful meditation too. You start doing
super
that,
powerful.
It's incredible. That's what, when I started to work with, chi. Chi is another thing to think about too, where it's in movies all the time. So you always give up your own power, assuming that it can only be done in movies, and it can, healing your own body is impossible in reality. But in reality, your brain, being the super biological computer that it is, can rewire all the wavelengths and start to heal yourself very quickly. And you can, on a small microcosmic scale, start to prove to yourself that you're able to control small objects with your mind, even, to put it bluntly. And that's just proving to anybody who does that you don't end at your skin.
Right.
And by looking at your hands and everything is a really good way of shifting your consciousness to that part of your body too. Because chi is no different than if I were to say, think about your left shoulder right now, and you weren't really thinking about it, and all of a sudden your consciousness just shifted over to your left shoulder, and you're like, oh yeah, I got a little bit of tension in my left shoulder, I didn't even notice that. And instead of shifting to a part of your body, you just shift between your hands, and you can feel energy between your hands, and it's just, you shift to an object, and you can feel that object, and it's not powerful enough to move a Coke can right away, but what's amazing is when you have small, light objects and you can move them, it gives you inspiration to growing that. And maybe thousands of years ago, the first fire was not created by stick and stone. Maybe it was created by our mind. Because if you ever heard of Johnny Chang, he was he's from Nepal, and he apparently, and there was a video documentary in the 80s about this guy that they found in Nepal who could light fire from his hands. They called him Dynamo Jack. It was a video that when I tried to repost it, it said it was banned worldwide for no reason at all. Simply because it was showing some of the most amazing powers. But he could put like a chopstick through a granite table and on camera. And there's also a guy in California alive to this day that was in Ripley's like 10, 15 years ago. Still alive, still doing demonstrations. Master Zhao, I believe is his name, and he can, on a thermal camera, raise his hands to a temperature of over 212 degrees, which is what sparked my idea of, well, maybe that's how the first fire was made, because he's boiling water. He was like 1 degree below boiling water.
Wow.
And this guy has gotten Western recognition to the point where he's made a pretty good living through it too, but he started from, just being found by Ripley's. And no one talks about any of these things anymore, because he can also take like mud out of water, and this is one of his demonstrations he does all the time still to this day. He'll just take muddy water, hold it in his hand, show you it's mud, and then like 5 seconds later he'll throw it at you and it'll be powder, because he dried it with his heat from his hand so quickly.
Whoa.
Yeah, these are all online. You can,
Master
you
Cao?
can knock on his door. What's that?
Master Cao and Johnny Chang?
I think it's ZAO, Master Zhao. Yeah, and then the other guy is Dynamo Jack. That one inspired me forever.
Dynamo Jack.
Dynamo Jack, yeah, for your notes.
Yeah.
Dynamo Jack. And his other name is Johnny Chang. So if you can't find Dynamo Jack, Johnny,
normal, the same guy?
Normal way. Yeah, it's the same guy. We renamed him. His nickname is Dynamo Jack, and then Johnny Chang is...
Johnny Chang's dope already. It didn't really need to be renamed.
Right, true.
But they're like, no, it must be something better, like Dynamo Jack.
The last video that I want to share with you because I just know that you'll appreciate it a lot. There's a video that's been on YouTube for over, I'd say 12, 13, 14 years, and I remember watching it when I was younger. Again, one of the things that really woke me up in a spiritual way instead of a conspiratorial way was called What is the Real Reality? And you just type in What is the Real Reality, and it's got a purple thumbnail, and it has a mixture of different people speaking, not just David Icke and David Wilcock, which I really don't know what to think about anymore, but there's a bunch of other ones in there too, that it's just this coalition that somebody put together a long time ago. I re-uploaded it out of fear that it'd be taken down at some point. But What is the Real Reality really sums it up in it's only like 5, 6, 7 minute video. And every time I feel super depressed and like, what the hell is the point of all this? And I just feel really off kilter and like don't have the energy to want to meditate and just feel totally disconnected. I watch that video. Kind of brings me back to earth. But anyways, I hope you got all those because I know you'll appreciate them.
Yeah, and for sure.
Yeah,
Thank
I don't
you.
want to take up too much more of your time. But
well, thanks,
really
man. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
Awesome
Thank
phone
you,
call.
Jason. Yeah,
You have a good one.
keep doing what you're doing.
We'll do.
Really like watching your stuff. I make websites and I like keeping podcasts on while I'm working.
Awesome.
So it's really cool. Keep doing
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'll call again sometime.
Yeah, please do. Have a good one.
All right, man.
All right.
Yeah, you too. I'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.
That was dope.